Going live with the audio. Live with the audio? Yeah, live with the audio. Nice. Here comes video. Hey everybody, welcome to Massive Chalice Teamstream number 19. We're keeping it rolling on the couch here. On the gross turquoise couch is Derek Brand, concept artist.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
I'm also joined by Anthony Vaughn on the Wheels of Steel, producer. And then lead artist Jeff Solis. We're going to talk about the video game now.
What?
We've been working on this thing. Sorry for the delay of Teamstream 19, but we got a lot of work done instead of doing it earlier. But two-player was also they were indisposed. So it's really good to have their help because this was only 20 minutes late with their help. And without it, it's basically 2 weeks late is what it is. So cool. Let's jump into it. We've been doing a bunch of art, and I'm sitting here with artists. So let's talk about art of Massive Chalice. So one of the big things that we did over the last however long it's been since the last time we've talked to you guys is that we did like all these modeling revisions on the enemies. So this was the first pass lineup that we did. I think that we showed this last time. And so these were like actual modeling grabs that you took in Maya of like, okay, this is the actual assets that we have, and put them in silhouettes, and we can sort of compare them. And the dude is, the human is in the middle, so you can kind of like get a feel for their scales and stuff. And then this was, after going through some revisions and going back and forth with Andy and whatever, this was like kind of the new direction that we settled on for each of the enemies. And we're like, sweet, and it feels more cohesive, and these are the changes we're going with. And then so Jeff has just been like busting through these, and you just finished the last one like yesterday, right? The day before yesterday, maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
The
2
very
days ago?
beginning of this week.
Okay.
Because I've been working on the characters.
Yeah, on the humans, on the
Yes,
heroes, right? Okay.
yes, the
So
heroes.
all of these are actually like updated in the game, and you'll see them. But what was the main takeaway here?
Angular.
Angular.
Yeah, more angles,
Yeah.
less
Especially
tiny feet.
Less tiny feet, right? Get bigger
They're
feet.
borderline Rob
like,
Liefeld.
like this dude right here,
Yeah.
getting big fat feet, and the bone shell guy getting big fat feet was definitely. And then yeah, just like making sure they're all cut. Like this is one of my favorite examples right here. On the we still don't have a name for this guy yet, but the time killer guy. These hip bones are like super angular, and like his arm got like super angular, and then his face is like this super angular thing, and it's just awesome. Like I totally love this guy. This I think that this arm turned out really well in the game as well on the Forget Mage.
Yeah.
And what else has turned out awesome? You'll see some of this stuff in the game.
He looks much better now, with thicker legs.
And the swapper guy looks
Yeah.
much better with the thicker legs.
I fixed his butt.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You just crafting his butt. One of the other things that is great is the tall growth monster. You'll see him in the game. He got a nice his midsection is a lot more interesting, and when you compare it to the old one, this Baywatch bikini, this thing. Actually, wait.
Kini?
We decided, okay, after we got over the Baywatch thing, we decided that this is actually the Fade Ratha. Is that correct? Is that how you pronounce it?
Fade Ralpha.
Yeah, Fade Ratha, the Sting's character from the Dune
I will kill
movie.
him.
Anthony, if you could do that again.
I will kill him.
I will kill him. Yeah. If you
I
haven't
wish
seen-
I had his abs.
If you haven't seen David Lynch's Dune, you really should go check it out because it's amazing. But that bikini has been replaced with like this really weird kind of like again sort of like losing the smoothness, the smooth sweepiness, and making it like a lot chunkier and like
He's probably my favorite
tessellated.
out of all
It's-
of them.
it's
Like, he
looking
turned out
really
the best
cool.
in the game, I think.
And then we did some revisions, like, I mean, this enemy, the new Spore enemy, the tiny guy that you see, yeah, again, it was like, we did like crazy poly reduction of his head. Like when Jeff, you did it, and originally it was like pretty round, and it was sort of like, and it was kind of shiny, but when we looked at it in the game, it just kind of looked like a sphere. And so we like decimated it. Did you decimate it?
No.
Is that the official term?
I sort
You
of had
made more
this,
coplanar
Yes.
polygons?
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
I unified a lot
Look
of
out.
the normal directions. A lot of it was we didn't decrease the number of verts, but I rearranged them on the surface to create harsher edges, and Also to get rid of a lot of uniformity, you know, like when you're working on a model, usually you'll have like an even distribution of verts and edges. But to achieve this look, you can't have that because when everything gets faceted, that means the guy will just look like he's been put together by a bunch of squares and whatnot.
Sure.
So a lot of it was going through each of the models and sort of handcrafting how, this is going to sound weird, but how the light is actually hitting each part of the model, and then trying to break out some of the larger shapes, like on the corrosion suicide guy, like those big flat areas.
Like here, these
Yeah,
big planes.
like defining those and making sure that like in the engine it actually looks like that, you know. And I think it helped a lot on all the characters. They all look really good now.
Yeah, it's looking much more cohesive, and you'll see some of those in the game when we get to the game later. But we got a lot to talk about. So one of the other big focuses has been on this Bloodline editor, which we're going to show you as well. And this was where we started with color palettes. So Andy did this, and I thought it was a super great like first stab at like colors for the game. Yeah. And there were some that he was not feeling at all, like this orange. Like he was just like, you know, I like this. I also, when I read this, I read it in Andy's voice. Yeah. Orange isn't really working. How about pink? It's surprisingly more versatile. That sounds nothing like him, but it sounds like it in my...
He's the fifth Beatle.
See, I don't know. Andy does not sound like that at all.
See, when you talk about
what
Andy,
he
I just
sounds
think
like
of
in my
Braun
head.
from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's more versatile. Right? I can't do it. I'm the worst.
But it's good that you can't do it.
I'm the worst. Sorry, Andy, if you're watching this. But like this was awesome, and so a lot of like this chalkier, mellow, like the demon colors that we picked, the cadence colors are so harsh that a lot of it was like when we were talking about, and this is so like I'm not taking any credit for this at all. This was like I'm just regurgitating things that I've heard Andy and you and Jeff say about how like the cadence colors are all like very sharp and very kind of like in your face, like the bright blue and the bright orange and the bright red and stuff that they have. And so we wanted to have these be like more subdued for the heroes.
Yeah, kind of like make them a bit vintage.
A bit vintage, yeah. And that backs up like the legacy feel of the game and stuff, right? So yeah, awesome. So this was the first stab at the color palette. And the idea is that each of these long lines was a primary house color, and then each of the smaller swatches, the smaller squares underneath, those are like secondary colors that would pair with that primary color. So for all the houses, they're all going to be two colors. And we made that decision like right about this time where it was like, yeah, like let's just try really hard to force all of them to be only two colors and just see how it works. And I totally love the fact that they're only two colors. So their sigils will only be two colors. Like everything's going to be two colors. Great. And we looked at this, and we just felt like there was some stuff missing, I guess. Like the blue and the green were kind of missing. There's like two purples, and what else did we talk about with this?
It just got pushed way too orange. Like,
yeah,
way too warm. It lost any sort of cool colors.
Got like pushed out. So we took another stab at it and arrived at this guy, and you see, and also the yellow. No, the yellow's in there. Yeah, but like the green here and the blue here, like those are really the additions, and now it feels much more diverse.
Yeah.
More full. It's nice, but it's not really stomping on any of those like crazy cadence colors that we have.
Right.
So.
And we
cool.
decided to go to 10 instead of 8.
Yes, we decided to go to 10 primary colors so that we could include the green and the blue, and then also include more colors for secondary colors on all of them. And if there were any cases where it didn't work, like on this salmon one here, on the original one, there were like a couple that just like didn't
the
work,
yellow
right?
And the salmon together,
like this right
horrific,
here, yellow and salmon, like kind of bad, and this brown and salmon, like you just deleted it, right? You're just like, no one's allowed to put brown and salmon in the game. So over here on salmon, like you can see that those aren't there, but you just came up with like additional kind of colors that might look good with salmon. And so some of the secondary colors are not the exact primary colors.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, that's where we ended up. I don't know if that's interesting. Hopefully you find that interesting, viewers. Thanks. But yeah, that's so those were like our final palettes. My keyboard just stopped working. Oh, no. I don't know what's happening. It's cool. I'll just use this mouse. Let's use his mouse. It's good. Okay, so that was like our final palette design. So for sigils, we started with this, the Book of Signs by Rudolph
Coke? I think it's Coke.
Koch. You think it's Coke?
Like the Koch brothers?
Coke? Yeah. All right.
I have
Yeah.
no idea.
Rudy Coke. So I really just took a picture of this because it was on your desk.
Yeah,
How much
somebody-
did you use this book?
Somebody
It's
threw
kind of
that at me.
interesting.
I
Yeah.
flipped through it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's
I
like
don't
cool
remember who threw it at me.
symbology.
Do you ever feel like if you open up to a random page, you're going to be magically transported because you read a rune or something?
Well, he's got to speak
gotta
the
be
words.
careful.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Welcome to Rudy's house.
a lot of the actual computerized sigils were destroyed.
Yeah.
Derek destroyed them accidentally. That's in air quotes. Accidentally destroyed them because you thought they were terrible. But you started with all these Post-it notes, and I grabbed the worst ones and put them on a table and took a picture of them so we could talk about it. Because like this is cool. Like this is like the evolution of it, right? So the big lesson that we learned, if you
really
look
like
at
that
this
creepy mouth.
at this
I like the
wing,
hangover eye.
this was a wing over here, right? And it's very, very curvy, very swoopy, you know. And we were looking at it in conjunction with some of the other symbols that you were making, and just with like the look of the game, like very tessellated, very hard-edged, and like polygonal and stuff, and very graphic. Again, that's another word that sounds only Andy can say that word in my head. Very graphic. And so that one, and then like this fist. Again, it has like too many curves on it, and then it also has like kind of a faux 3D thing going on, and that was one of Andy's big pieces of feedback, was that like, you know, simplify, and then also try to get rid of, like, if you look at these claws, they're just very, very swoopy, and it was like, can we make these more angular? There's another one over here, like this this claw, it's kind of like overlapping itself here, so it like doesn't really read as much.
Read very well.
And then this is again this piece of white right here is like almost doing that faux 3D thing again. So it was like separating these things, making them more angular, making it read better. I thought this flower was another good example of that, where like the petals are like very angular and they fit the look, but like having all these dots in the inside takes it away from that graphic. Like those are like the what do you call those in a flower?
Pistils or stamens?
Yeah. Which one are they?
Wait. The pistils are the.
I don't know.
I don't know.
We're
I
gonna call
failed
them
biology.
stamens.
Stamens, yeah.
Stamens. We'll just go with that.
To Google.
Yeah. But removing all of those makes it like a much more graphic shape, and it would make it feel like more 2D and stuff. This tree is another great example where it's like really curvy, really curvy, sexy tree. And could we make it not as much so? Then I threw in this one because for whatever reason on my list, like I made the like master list. There were like 50 sigil ideas that we had that were sort of boiled down,
shark
distilled
mouth
down.
on there?
And I put a mouth down there. I don't know. It was supposed to be like an animal mouth. I don't know. I just wanted to embarrass Derek because, you know, they're not all winners. And then this eyeball up here we have some really cool eyeballs in there. This isn't one of them. But they turned out, so that's where it went from. And then these are the ones that we ended up with. So you'll see these in the editor in a moment. But you can see like the really angular ones. I think the animals turned out really well. And we've had a lot of requests for more animals. So we're going to be doing another one. I think the squid one is my favorite. Is it a squid? It's not an octopus because it's only got 6 legs. So I think it's a squid.
Sextopus?
Yes, it's sextopus. But yeah, you can see on all of these, it's like they're not. There's no real like angles
get judged?
anywhere. Here's that wing. Again, you can see that it's like all the curves are like stimulated by lots of straight lines. Oh, and here's that awesome talon where it's like all been separated out and it reads a lot better, feels a lot more graphic. And here's that fist with like less of that 3D feel to it and like more harsh angles on it and stuff. And here's a bunch of symbols, and I like this bone as well. This is one of my favorites, this big bone.
Solar Blitz says, this sounds as cool as the Spore creation tool. I'm like, we're not quite as...
Yeah, whoa, buddy. You might want to back off on that one because, I don't know if it's going to be that cool, but it's definitely cool. Why don't we let's jump into that thing and show it. I think I have it on the internet right here.
I pasted the URL into the chat channel a while ago, so the people are messing with it.
Oh, cool.
Couple people were surprised, so hopefully they'll make some cool stuff.
Okay, so this is the tool. You can totally go there right now, massivechalice.com/bloodline editor.
Bam, Control
You can
V.
check it out. So you'll be able to type in the details of your house. So all of this. So the Bloodline name, so that's going to be the surname, the last name for your dudes. If you retire them into a keep, the keep will get renamed. Motto, we're actually talking about changing this to be a battle cry, and we'll see that in the game in a minute. Yeah, so we want to get your take on that. We'll talk about that later. Founding heroes. So this is the first name for a male or female hero. So if your bloodline is selected during a playthrough, it'll roll for a random male or female hero of that bloodline, and then it'll grab their name out of here. So
awesome.
the first, in the brand bloodline, the first, the first male brand would always be named Derek. Like, that's cool.
Hey, Brad,
you can
I
pick your
interject with a
skin
question?
tone. Yeah.
I guess while you're describing this, sorry, man, I just realized you're talking. But Solar Blitz, our old buddy, says this reminds him of the sigils from Uncharted 3's multiplayer features. Did anyone think of that during this thing's creation? We looked at a lot of those, right?
We did.
Not just that,
I was mainly
Halo
looking
and-
at the Call of Duty one, and there's a Game of Thrones one online, and there's a Forza one that's insane.
That was bonkers.
That one's really crazy. And so I did not know that they had one for Uncharted.
I
I
think
looked at the GTA 5 one.
Yeah.
There are a lot of these kinds of things. But,
Right, we looked at a ton of them, yeah.
a lot of them, almost all of them, just kind of let you go nuts,
Yeah.
Big
and
time,
what's
yeah.
created with it. I mean, it's cool that you have all this freedom, but I think the problem is that you get something that is like, only the top like 3% are really awesome, and then the rest of them are like, it's like you're giving people all this power and all this freedom, and they're just kind of throwing stuff together, and it just doesn't look that great.
And the bigger it gets, the more complex it becomes.
Yeah, that was something we
Yes.
talked about from the get-go, right? Was like, make this thing, like, give them enough, like 5 layers, but keep it controlled a little bit so people can still get something out of it without too much work,
Yeah, totally. So you pick your skin tone and your hair color. Again, these actually will feed into the genetic code. So when you marry these characters together and they have children, like the children will have like a skin tone and hair color that's actually like based off the genetics of those two characters. And then more importantly, this bottom section is all about the sigil. So you pick your primary house color, and you can see that changing like the background. And then you can also see this secondary palette changing. So these are the 10 colors that we showed you from that big image earlier. And then and then there are how many secondary colors?
I think 8.
8 secondary
Should be
colors per primary color. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
10 minus 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool,
Yeah,
cool.
something like that.
And so you can see that changing. One critical thing is that it changes it for all of the layers. These can only be two colors. So if we want to get this big elephant here, so sweet. So you pick your symbol.
That elephant's dope.
So these are all the ones that we just showed you that are all like in this. And these are all vector art. We did these all as vector art, so they should scale to any size, and they'll look really good in the game, like tiny or big or whatever, because they're all like vector art, and that's awesome. So you pick a symbol, and then you can drag it around in here. We have a slider for the rotation. If you want to like rotate your elephant head upside down, and now I don't.
It's a manta ray now.
Look, yeah, it's a manta ray
is.
now. Awesome. And then you can also scale it up and down. You can also scale it up and down. And we let you type numbers in here as well. Yeah. Wow, that looks kind of sweet. Now it's like a weird scorpion or something. And then we have 5 layers, so you can just, I don't know, if you want to put a moon on here. I don't know. You want to put a moon on here? Sure.
Yeah. Why not?
Put it up over here. See, I don't know. It's just, you can just mess around with it, whatever.
Would you say you're not an artist, Brian?
I would say that I'm not an artist. We're hoping to get a lot of mileage out of these shapes. Just like they're really simple, but people are already doing, just with rotation and scale, people are like doing a lot of like really cool stuff. Shout out to Smiles. I don't know if he's in the chat right now, but Smiles on the forums, he made this amazing, it was taking the wolf head. I will try to do this actually. It was taking the wolf head and slapping the eagle on it, an upside down eagle on it, in order to make like a badger face. It's totally insane and awesome, and like I love that people are gonna do kind of crazy things with it. So he took this, where is it? This eagle, and then flipped it upside down.
Right now, it's like, this is my mustache.
And then he flipped it upside down, and then like put it up here, and then made this kind of like happy badger looking thing. I don't know. It's like it's cool.
Super cool.
It's cool that combining these things in like ways
Smiles is there.
that we didn't expect are actually creating really awesome stuff. He also was able to take I think the clamshell.
Brad, we're taking this meta. I
Yeah?
think I'm going to have Smiles try and copy and paste his debug export into the chat,
Nice.
and then I don't know how I'm going to get it to you.
I don't know. You're gonna email it to me or something.
Yeah, I'll do
That'd
that.
be
I'll do that.
sweet. But yeah, so this is the thing is that if you backed at the Bloodline level, you're gonna use this editor. We're probably gonna once it's completed in the next month-ish, I would say. We're gonna make this thing live. It's got a database on the back end, and then if you're one of these Bloodline backers, you'll be able to submit this information to us. We'll check it over to make sure you didn't put a dick in there, right? No dicks, sorry.
Yeah.
Don't put a dick in there, please.
But
Penises
just
are
to
acceptable,
know
though.
the true power of the editor, you can make plenty of them.
Oh man,
Yeah.
we had a contest who could make the best dick, and we had some really great entries. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, our own Justin Honegger.
Our own Justin Honegger from IT made a penis with wings that was amazing. Flying penis, great. I think that we're gonna have a thread on the forums just so that people can get it out of their system. Just post your best penis right here. Awesome. And then nobody needs to submit it to us because if you submit your penis, we will reject your penis. I'm sorry. We can't allow it in the game.
Speaking of things that are not penises, I don't know, that's the worst segue ever. But some people were asking, how come there are no chalices or hourglasses as symbol selections?
Hourglass is an excellent one. Write that down. So we,
Exactly. Noted.
we are, we don't have the final chalice design. Also, we wanted these houses to be things that are older than the beginning of the game.
Oh, like the age
They're
of
like,
man.
they're like older, and then the chalice is going to be found sort of like at the beginning of the game. So I think it would, and we don't have the final chalice design anyway. So we cut the chalice. We don't have a chalice in there. No chalices.
There are basic shapes.
There are basic
And
shapes.
if you would
wanted
really
to
like
make a
to,
chalice, you could.
you could
We
make
would
a
let you.
chalice.
We would allow it. Yeah, if someone wants to like, I'm not gonna try to do one right now. Okay, maybe I am. But yeah, like so that's the other thing. Like we haven't done all the shapes yet. This is sort of, I would say, most of them, question mark. We're not sure. But now that we have the style down, I feel like they come online a lot faster. So if people have ideas for shapes and things, let us know.
Yeah.
We sent out a link to some forum threads about this in our last update. You could totally just go to the forums and find it there. And we're just kind of talking about this. And Derek's going to do another rev of symbols. What do you think about this? Is this good?
Show them the cutting a hole in.
Oh yeah. So that's the other thing is that
Ow.
it is only two colors. It is only two colors, but we let you change the color of any of the threads to be the base color. So what this does is it lets you like do alpha cutout masking stuff like this, so
Yeah.
that you can make an awesome. It probably looks better the other way, huh? If I cut a sweet heart out of
Sweetheart out of it.
out of this thing. So you can switch. You can swap the order of the layers, and then I scale this guy down, and I can just get like a nice heart cut out of this
Aw.
thing. And now it looks like an
It's like a
eyeball with a
power-up or
heart.
something.
Oh, it does, yeah. But this should let people do other cool things, hopefully. I don't know. I'm really excited. Like there were just a couple of people, Smiles and maybe a couple other people that had already posted some stuff in the forums, and it was stuff that I didn't like. That Badger thing that he made.
Yeah, right.
Was amazing, and so I'm really looking forward to like what people make with this thing, and there'll be a way to easily share these things. Is to put them on Twitter, but whatever. Just like share them with each other and share ideas and stuff before you submit it to us, and then we'll verify them, and then they'll go into the game, and it'll be sweet. I think that's it. You got any questions coming in about this thing?
A couple people asked, like, can we do non-uniform scale? Nope, we're just doing uniform scale, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If there are things that you would want, like we're trying to do like a bunch of different triangles, like this, which hopefully would mitigate some of the desire for like non-uniform scale. Yeah, it was sort of like an aesthetic thing. We don't want to have like a bunch of like super squashed like animal heads or whatever
Right.
in the game, you know? I don't know. What do you think, Jeff? Like I think that, yeah, I think it's fine.
Quick shout out to T. Delamay. He said he's going to try to make the Eve logo. I approve. I have to. That's just a necessary thing. This is a good question. We don't know the answer to this yet, but it's good to note. True Story Guy asks, when is the deadline for these?
Oh, so we don't know yet. Yeah, as Anthony said, we don't actually know that, but it'll be yeah. How many people are going to do this? I'm doing this so you don't have to, okay?
Triforce was mentioned in the chat. I will say that.
I got it with two symbols.
Brad,
Bam.
another. This,
What do you think?
This is
Pretty
kind of
good.
a cool question. So,
like a
Shadrach
glossy
2
thing.
says maybe there'd be an option to divide the field into 2 or 4 vertically and diagonally, like a coat of arms. And like we addressed this, we thought of this already.
Yep.
Like, so could you talk about how
Yeah.
you could do that here?
So we've got a couple of things that, because we don't want to limit people to like only doing heraldic stuff. And I would prefer it if people were like just doing, nice iconic things. But I know that there's a strong desire from some people to like actually do things that are very heraldic. So you can take this guy and like carve it up like that, and then drop some, if you wanted to have like a sweet skull down here, and then like, what would you put up here? An eyeball in the other thing. And this was actually why we chose 5 layers specifically, so that you could
that's right,
you could
yeah.
put 4 things. You could put something over here, and then I can just change the color of that guy, so that you could have actually like quarter it up, and then have the. Man, my words are failing me. And then have one one image in each quadrant. So yeah, we already had a request on the forums about, or you could quarter it this way if you wanted to. We had a request for kind of like a shield symbol, almost like a coat of arms style thing, and I think that would be really good. Kind of like, it doesn't have to literally be a shield, but just that sort of like
The shape.
of it.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that it's not. Again, it won't be like circular,
Yeah.
but it'll be chunked out to sort of match the style of everything else. But yeah, I think that will help.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that like the way we talked about from the get-go was like make it like give them a lot to do, be able to do a lot of stuff, but keep it still simple. Like, I mean, you can do so much with 5 layers, and you can swap the layers with those little arrows in between the layers, and like the 2 colors. You get a lot, man.
Yeah. Look at
Brad's
this, awesome.
weird ass
pretty
flag.
awesome.
I don't know what this is like the worst game of. Is that like
I don't know.
Foursquare?
It clearly needs to be pink though.
Yeah, it does.
Also, we've got this. We'll see it in the game, but we have the colors piping through to the actual characters in the game now, which is really cool. It really helps set them apart and stuff. So
Yeah, it's too bad
Cool.
Chad's not here to talk about that. Like the actual rendering code that we're using to render this in the Flash basically is Chad's using that in game to render in the UI, which is kind of cool.
cool. Let's. What time is it? It's like
4:47.
almost 5. Yeah, I feel like we should jump into the video game.
And while you're doing that, Brad,
Can you go grab Chad?
a couple
Yeah.
people have been saying like,
Thanks,
so
sir.
like, is that all the symbols?
Oh, no, it's not all the symbols. We're gonna do another pass. Just like now that we have the actual style locked down and stuff, we're gonna do another pass on them,
Cool.
and we'll make some more to put in there. I mean, when we started filling it up, it's like, man, the more the better. Like the more the better. It's just that, yeah.
Derek is only one man.
I know he's only one man, and he's got other stuff to do, like all the UI stuff and.
That's
got a bunch
actually
of
in our
other things to
plan
do.
for post-launch, right? We're going to clone Jeff, clone Derek, clone Brad, find
be a
your twin
robot?
brother. Yeah, right.
Can you make me a robot? I could probably work faster.
robot bodies.
We
Yeah.
use all the parts for the Brad robot, but we'll figure it out. But we'll get it. Yeah, it'll be sweet. It'll be sweet. I'm actually a hologram, so I'm not even here right now. So it's.
Are you a hard light hologram?
Did you see Gem and the Holograms is coming out?
What?
They're making it. Don't act like you're not stoked, Brad. Okay? Because I don't want to hear it. You are
do you-
stoked.
What do you think about my bone?
There you go. Skullbone clan.
Ow. I'm getting
Don't submit this one. This is ugly. This is how you make an ugly sigil.
I don't know. That works.
This
That
eyeball's
works.
gotta go, huh? Get this out of here. Better. All right, yeah, I'm super stoked to see what people end up making with this thing. So yeah, post stuff on the forums and stuff.
It's
I
really
would
cool.
love to
There's
see
a
it.
healthy sharing of sigils being pasted into the chat channel right now, like the actual exported debug info. So that's kind of cool.
Great. Yeah, I think we're gonna jump into the video game. Close this guy.
Yeah, we got about 10 minutes or so.
Okay. Hey, so we've also been working on the video game. Is this thing coming through over there?
We're on a lag here, Brad.
Oh, we are.
I'm getting internet through my phone right now. This is.
Professional operation.
I
Here,
have
everybody.
cancer not growing right here on
The
my
build
head.
is very similar to the Hoff build that we showed last time. So we start you off with like just a really quick, with like this liberation mission. And I don't know if I'm gonna show.
You should hit hero info.
Oh yeah, right. Beautiful.
And
So
the
Chad
liberation.
did this, which is awesome, where it like zooms in on the dude.
what?
And it's fantastic.
Oh man, that guy looks like old school X-Men.
He kind of does, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, so you can actually see that like this green like right here. So Dan got this integrated. These are all test sigils. This weird like bunny rabbit symbol.
Oh yeah.
It was one of our test things. It's kind of hilarious, but Chad made a bunch of variations of the bunny rabbit thing, and then a bunch of colors. But so this is where your sigil would actually show up. But yeah, you can see on the actual character, it's like his pants and his shirt are green, and then the trim on his boots and his kind of like gauntlet arm is yellow. It's awesome. And you can tell also. So that was Sam Farrell. I think that this guy right here. This is Barry Farrell. Barry Farrell. And that was awesome that I could actually see him in the background, and I could tell that he had the same color scheme, and I'm like, awesome. So that's another thing that we did. We found from playing the game that you would get relics in your first generation, but there was nobody to give them to.
Right.
Because the characters that you would retire into your first keep, they would have no relations, and then they would have children, and that was great, but the characters that you were fighting with on the battlefield, they would die and make a relic, and then the relic would just be destroyed because there were no blood relatives to hand it down to. So right now we make 15 characters for you.
That's right.
And we have like maximum 7 to 10 bloodlines that it rolls, and then the rest of the characters are all related to those original 7 to 10 bloodlines. And Dan was actually doing some cool genetic stuff, I think yesterday, where he was making like phantom parents.
That's right.
For your like initial thing, and that actually might,
show
you know
that
what?
on
If
there
I
too, yeah.
if I click one of these Farrell brothers, who is it? Barry and Sam, the Farrell brothers.
Hey, Sam. Hey, Barry.
Oh, it's not
So
in
he
there.
just has a brother, so
He just has a
siblings aren't
brother.
showing, but
Okay.
we might put him in the middle.
Some of these characters might actually have.
I really want a TV this big.
Yeah. So right here, Oliver Wood. So you see this character. He has 2 children, Teresa and Jessica. So he's got 2 daughters that are probably
They're
back
twins.
at the.
Yeah.
Are they twins?
Yeah, because they're both the same age.
They're both age 15. Awesome.
Nice.
Or shit got freak in the same year.
Yeah, so like it's really awesome. It's starting to give the characters more identity when you see their actually like house colors showing up, and then the other thing that making sure that you have related characters at the very beginning lets you make sure that we have relics to give away, like places for them to go. But it also helps jumpstart this sort of like the player's like internal story engine of just like thinking about these characters like. We're not going to do a lot of like story, like narrative driven content. The characters are all procedural, but you might immediately from right here at the beginning of the game recognize that these 2 characters are brothers and sort of like want to protect them or whatever. Like it's kind of cool. Like I'm excited to see where that goes.
Or when you get
as
back
people
from
play
the start
game more.
mission, you have to pick which one goes in the keep. Maybe you pick the guy who didn't get kills on the battlefield, or maybe
Right,
you want the guy with a
right.
little more experience in the keep because he's going to be able to train kids better.
Yeah.
You start having to make decisions from the get-go, kind of
Yeah.
weighing 2 guys.
Yeah,
But
rather than just having 15 unique bloodlines and being like, I don't know, like it's actually like putting some
sure.
benefits for stuff.
We're
Another thing,
I was just going to say we're starting to play test games out to like 50, 100 years, and it really is neat to kind of see that early mid game, kind of that's sort of a focus that we're looking at now is what happens once you get past your first fight or 2 and your first generation dies off.
yep,
And Jeff and I and Derek, we're all noticing that like the relics we get you have to just throw them away because you have no kids from that group.
They're just gone no matter what. Yeah.
It's an interesting point to be kind of where that early mid game opens up some parts that we didn't expect or didn't test. So it's
Those jerks.
it's cool.
So
Hey, artificial intelligence, you're a jerk.
one of the other things that we did, we're trying to really have a focus on making sure that all the classes are like really fun at level 1. And the Alchemist, we thought the Alchemist was really fun at level 1 because he's got his melee attack, but he's all about bombs. That's a defining characteristic of this class, and like he has the bombs right out of the gate. And people, in some of our playtests, we've been having a hard time like making sure that this this bar with the abilities is like actually visible and known enough. So we know that we really have to train people that like, hey, it's here. But for the people that figure it out, like they're having a great time like bombing dudes with the Alchemist. There's really great feedback when you're like trying to aim this thing, and it's really fun to throw bombs. So we're like, he's cool. But the Hunter, we were having sort of a hard time making sure that he was fun out of the box. So we decided to make like totally unrestrict his stealth movement. Mm-hmm. Just in terms of how often you can use it. You still need to end up, you can see it's a little hard to see in the placeholder UI, but only these spots that have the little asterisk on them are valid stealth locations, and all the other places aren't. You sort of have to like, the idea is that you have to like sneak up next to a wall, and like then you can like camouflage and like blend in next to a something that blocks the environment, and you can't get too close to enemies and stuff. And it's turned out to be like we're really trying to emphasize that as the defining characteristic for that class. So he gets that right out of the gate. And then the Caberjack, we want this that knockback skill. We're trying to improve that, make sure that it's like super fun to push guys around on the battlefield and have that be like the defining characteristic of the Caberjack. And it's turning out to be a lot better, a lot more fun. We were kind of tuned a little too close to maybe the XCOM style, the way that we were playing the game, where you were missing a lot. That was some of the feedback that we got, where hits were deadly, but they were infrequent, and that made it like just kind of frustrating when the things that you could do to increase your hit chance were counterintuitive, like moving your ranged character closer, or like having to like get behind another character, things like that.
That's cool.
They were just not necessarily the most fun things or intuitive things to do. So we took those out and made the hit percentages just a lot higher. So it's more about just like you're picking the best position rather than just like always trying to backstab the enemy or always trying to like run your Hunter up into a guy's face and take a point blank shot. It's about, it's more about like just the best overall positioning for them, and then your hit chances are pretty static and they're pretty high. It's just that we then bumped up the HP of all the enemies so that you're not one-shotting things anymore, and that it's just more satisfying. Like I would much rather have an enemy require 2 hits to kill and have a really high chance of getting both those hits, as opposed to like one-shotting it but having a low chance, and then maybe I get 3 misses in a row and it's very frustrating.
Sure. It feels good. I mean, at this point, almost all the character base abilities are in. Like, I think the last time we kind of did a balance pass, we only had a quarter of the features of the characters in. Now almost all their skills, at least on a baseline, are in, or we're starting to get to play with them. And it's really kind of, until you can start playing with them, don't know if they feel right or they feel too early. So I think this latest round of changes we've made feels nice. It's like taking the stuff we did and then shuffling it in the right order.
Yeah, we're definitely moving
nice
in the right direction.
It's nice to see that the stuff we have in, kind of, maybe you give it a little early, maybe you adjust the range, maybe you make it a little less frequent, but it's a good toy box of things you can give the player and skills.
So one of the other things that we've been working on is so you can see the spore enemy is like in. That's cool. Like Jeff, we got that guy modeled, and you can actually see there's some weird highlighting on him. Just we're doing some kind of temp things. If I can zoom in with the debug camera here real quick, you can sort of see the things that we were talking about earlier. You can see those big coplanar planes, just trying to make it look more like Derek's concept art. And I don't know, it looks sweet. Looks sweet. We are coloring this guy purple, and that's because Chad's been working on this other thing. Hopefully it happens, but when you encounter these enemies early in the game, they're just sort of simple melee enemies, and you're fighting them in cool, and then they will show up later as a more powerful version, and they'll have this ability to actually kind of, when it's one of their turns, they can consume themselves and 2 other of these spores to form a much larger growth cadence, and hopefully it will happen. gonna happen. This third guy's gonna do it. No, okay.
Give him another try. You might.
Maybe these guys will do it over here.
Like, not dog.
No.
I'm just gonna punch you.
No.
round. Give him
Next
another
round.
turn.
We'll give him another round. But just headbutts for everybody. Okay, cool. We'll just end our turn and see what happens. See if we can get it to happen. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so it kind of consumes them all, and then one of the big growth guys will come out, and all these guys are doing it too. So these big growth enemies, like we had them spitting grenades at you before, which is excellent, and they can still do that. They have like AOE attacks, but they'll also be able to create more spores. So these guys are gonna kind of hopefully get out of hand. Okay, see. So now right there, that's super dope AI, right? Because I had two guys standing next to each other. He decided that the best thing to do was like spit a grenade and do damage to two guys. Chad, too good. AI too strong.
You're going to kill us all.
And then
Yeah, it's the AI definitely with the explosion attacks considers how many people it can kill and how many friendlies he can damage, and tries not to damage his own friendly guys. Oh, those three might form up. Yeah.
it's we
So
put
it's kind of
some
neat to see. You'll see one of the suicide guys like run past the nearest target into the group of your guys and explode there, try to get more damage, which is pretty deadly, but feels good.
and we want this to, these enemies are really supposed to embody like unchecked growth. Just that they'll get really out of hand unless you're kind of cleaning up all these little tiny guys. We want the alchemist to have like an advantage. You've seen a lot of these little dudes getting super bunched up and stuff. So well-placed grenades, you should be able to kill a bunch of them with them. Whereas the other two characters are more single target. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be hopefully it's super cool.
It's a fun mix. I think all of our enemies now are starting to get a personality.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of they attack different. You have to use different strategies on the battlefield against them.
And now that I've gotten this totally out of hand, I'm gonna.
You win.
You'll probably level some guys up.
So this is
UI
cool.
new,
At the end of the mission, Derek did this new UI for like showing all your stats on it, and it's like cool.
And credit to Dan for wiring it up. It's a complicated UI, listing a whole bunch of different guys and sliding out. And
Yeah, and like how many
the
kills they
sigils,
had.
The sigil stuff in is the same tech we're using kind of throughout the UI to show it. Also there on the upper left.
And we want this to be, we decided to put it over here on the right side. I didn't know you could do that.
What do you do?
I hit back over here and then it started animating again. Bugs, video game under development.
Feature.
But yeah, we sort of have it like restricted to the right side so that when you click on one of these, we have that same info screen pop up with the characters. So you can see it, you can see all their equipment and their stats and all that stuff. And then when they have a skill point, it's like it'll take you straight to the skill page, and then you can like unlock that and level the guy up and stuff like that. So you can sort of handle all your like character bookkeeping with the level ups and stuff before you come back to the strategy layer.
It's really starting to show some of the UI direction we're going. I'd say probably about a third of the UI now we have kind of over to that new look.
Yeah.
This is still showing the old, but Derek and Dan are currently working on a design for this to kind of match the style.
And this is rad that you can see them, as you're swapping out the characters now, you can really see those house colors on the guys, and like it's
And even the
starting to
skin
give
and
them,
hair colors come through too.
starting to give them more personality. And for sure, I want to get one of those feral kids on the throne here, right? Feral kids.
They're all like,
So yeah, like Sam definitely leveled up. Yeah, so this is what you're talking about, right? It's
Right.
like I've got Sam and Barry Farrell. It looks like Barry's about to level up, but like,
Barry's a virile guy though.
You're right, and
true, in real life as well.
but he's sickly.
Hard
I don't
call.
know. So yeah, so this
He's
is
a
where you'll be
virile
like,
kingmaker, though, yo. Get him to work.
I know, get a bunch of.
Also virile. There's a family maker there. Be some sick kids, but
We got virile all over the place, man. This is amazing. Okay. So we have the retirement stuff happening.
I don't know if that's a weird idol or a bug, but it's like he yawned. His head kind of tilted back.
Oh,
Oh, no,
yeah,
it
the-
is. It is a yawn, or it's
Oh.
supposed
Is
to
that
be.
what it is?
It's just
Like
a,
if you watch them long enough, yeah, they sort of like look upwards. It's like kind of weird, and he's sort of off center on the throne.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that
I
right
get it.
now.
But wait,
Hey.
how is this being triggered right now? when they do look around?
Oh, it's just a stance, and then it.
I kind of like that
it's just
sideways thing.
randomized.
So,
It looks
this
much
is
more relaxed.
this is their breathe, and then when they do that, they have one idle. It was just set up.
There's that weird sitting part of the
Oh, yeah,
animations.
yeah. Yeah, totally polished
Yeah.
this part.
Yeah, placeholder, placeholder, awesome. Okay, so in the research, let's see.
All right, well, that's work.
So there was one other feature that I wanted to talk about, which is, oh, hey, so also another thing we noticed is that there were not enough keeps to actually like retire people. We felt like the population was getting, what's the right word for it? It's like we felt like
Your gene
a
pool was
couple
homogenous.
generation in, yeah, you're having homogeneous gene pool. So our first experiment is to just like reduce the cost, and we just did this today, so we haven't even played the game with it, but
Living on the edge.
basically what we want to do is have 10 keeps. So each region will have 2 keeps, so you can see sort of like, where is it? It's right here, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there will be 2 keeps in the same region, in the mangrove region, and these pieces of the region will be linked. So the corruption will come into the outer region first and destroy that one, and then come into the inner region and then destroy that one. That's kind of the idea, is that they'll be linked across all the regions, and then each of those regions will have a keep. So you'll potentially have 10 bloodlines that are set up. Is that too many? We're not sure, but we know that 5 is too few, and that losing 20% of the map, if something goes wrong, if it hits 100%, is kind of too devastating. So we're thinking that, plus the visuals are really sweet of like having a piece of the continent like fall away. So we want to make sure that in your average game you actually will lose one or two of these outer regions at least. So you'll see that and kind of experience the loss, and maybe a critical family was out there, whatever. It just seems better. And then we'll just see if it's like too many. I have to go in there and make the region exploration cheaper. But
one thing like Jeff was running into in that mid-game was that your children typically will marry into another house, and pretty soon everyone's pretty tightly related with.
Yeah.
When you got like 3 or 4, which you sort of have at that point, like maybe 3 keeps, chances are most of their kids are going to kind of be cousins or brothers or.
Yeah,
or
they're not
siblings of
separated
each
enough
other.
that they can start
So
marrying each other again.
With 10, you get more diversity for like, chances are you have an open spot that someone can fit.
I'm gonna just skip some of this stuff. So there was one other. So hey, that's our random event dialogue that I just skipped, which is looking a lot nicer. We'll show that off the next time that happens. There was one other thing that I wanted to talk about, which was like we have this feature that Dan wired up really quickly for research. I have this new item that I was messing around with called the Spore Heart, which is like, so this would be your first piece of like cadence technology that you get from killing all those little spore guys, is that you can make like a heart out of their weird crystallized heads. You could equip that, and it would just like boost, because they're like the growth enemies, it would like just boost your maximum HP. Maybe it would be like a regen item, like I'm not sure, like it'll be something cool. So Dan wired this up where you actually have to have a certain number of kills before you can research it. So the first time that you kill one of them, this research option will show up, and then once you've killed 10 or more, you like meet that requirement, and then you can start the research, and then after time it'll be, so it's sort of like giving you almost like a quest. It's interesting. Like I'm not sure if it's quite gonna work yet, but we're gonna play with it because you're not really in control of when the enemies attack or what kind of enemies attack. So it could actually end up being a frustrating thing. I don't know, but it's something we'd like to mess around with. It's something we'd like to mess around with just to see if it's fun, and give you something to look forward to. Like when the enemies attack, being like, oh, if it's this kind of enemy, like you'll be able to kill them. And then research this new thing, and it's cool.
They're going to town, and then
That's your villain.
Exactly. It's like, I'm a kingmaker, baby. Valiant Cheese says.
We're making all the babies over
Valiant
here.
Cheese on the
Do you
chat says, can we please note Brad and Chad's posture at this very moment? This is how they want the regions to look in the keeps. Like, make it so. I think it's awesome. Yeah, exactly. That's better, Chad, right there. A little jaunty angle.
That's what I got to get the that head look up.
Look at all these ferals in here, man.
You want to take some questions and
That would be awesome.
denouement?
That would be
It's
awesome.
good that they're passing that sickly trait down.
Oh man, is everybody getting it? Oh, everybody's sickly. Is every single kid sickly? Every single one.
Both
Oh, that
parents
guy's
are,
puny
so-
too.
Both
That's
parents
great.
are.
But he's quick. That's nice.
That's a lot of kids.
Like
So
a
that's
little-
good. So that was another thing. Dan found a bunch of bugs in the genetic stuff, and it's it's really hard. Like we don't want to expose the genetic code to you as the player. So even when you're
at
testing
those
the game,
kids.
look at all these kids. So this is kind of rad. Dan put this in because he was just like super stoked, and you can click on one of these parents or one of these kids, and we're not sure what we're gonna show over here yet. Maybe nothing. I don't know. Maybe this will be something that we
Tombstone?
can. No, not a tombstone. This is a real
kid.
kid.
It's a
bunch of
baby.
sickly
This
little
is
kids.
a
Oh,
baby.
it's a kid.
Baby
This is a
crib.
baby, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Just like what, yeah, like what do we show over here? Because this
Baby
kid
crib,
is
baby
11
crib.
years old. It would be awesome to have like a prepubescent child standing here. Are you prepubescent? That word's creepy. Why did I say that? Prepubescent. I don't like that word. That creeps me out. Don't say that. Whoa, this is Issa Stamos. That's actually.
Yeah, that's why I was
Got both
laughing.
names. Yeah.
Oh, I was crazy. But yeah, it's cool that
Could
you
be,
can
huh?
actually like follow these links and sort of see the parents
Damn, how
and
many kids do they
and
have?
the children. They were getting busy. Look at this. Had a lot of. They're both virile, right?
And young at heart. Look at that.
Man, virile
They're,
young at
they're
heart.
passing along the
And this
wrong
is cool
traits.
too. Is
That's
that you can
like-
see the kingmaker trait totally at work, right? It's like most of these kids are male.
Right, the first girl.
It's awesome. Well, doing well. Okay. What else are we going to talk about here? We would totally take questions. That would be great.
Yeah. Ask more questions.
Good lord.
Oh, here's that random event UI. So this was another one that we did. This is just a placeholder random event, but yeah, it's just looking nice. Got some mouse over here.
Oh.
This will be where you're actually making those decisions, and then
Oh, that looks, I
random
haven't seen
things
that
will
yet.
happen.
That looks really nice.
Well, thank you, Mr. Vaughn.
Brad made all these
I
UIs.
did
That's
not make any of that. That's all Derek and then Dan hooking it up.
Bacon
good.
Games 76 asks,
I love Bacon Games.
if you continue to flee
into
the
the
growth
fight.
cadence,
Go
is there an
into the
upper
fight.
limit to their replication?
So with the growth cadence, guys, we put in some safeguards so that they would
There's
not
a-
get out of control.
There's two levels right now. There's the purple ones, which we kind of call ultra, but Brad will come up with a better word, and regular. And ultra ones are the only ones that can make regular ones, but regular ones can't turn back into ultra. So it kind of they fade out after a while.
Yeah,
Like,
and they all have a limited number of eggs, right?
Three.
All of
Three,
the large growth enemies have a limited number of eggs. So after they sort of use all their eggs, and that's pretty high prio for them, right? Spawning. It's pretty high prio. We also talked about potentially having one spit out two in the same round, if it's too, if it feels too weak to make those, and then that way, you might really have to
yeah,
like it
the
might
main thing
really
is that
get
if you're
out
up
of
against
control.
one, at the rate they spit it out one around, you can kill the little one off before he
Yeah.
groups up. But
And then also the big one is not really damaging you at that point, right? So it's like it's kind of a balancing act. We'll have to see between like how often should it spit eggs and how often should it spit bombs, and then how many eggs should it have? Like there's all sorts of tuning knobs that we have on that character.
and you
but
could
I'm
also have where you
stoked for it.
start the level and there's 6 little guys, and they're all rushing at you and starting forming up.
Yeah.
And that's scary enough as it is. It's kind of you're getting swarmed.
So Solar Blitz asks, this is a great question. Will there be any drawbacks to having lots of kids?
Right now, no. I don't think there is.
Just your king, like a lot of mouths to feed, damn kids.
Right now, we don't have any restriction to it. It's like we're just gonna try to tune the birth rate so that they're just not ridiculous. And then once the kids are 15, they'll be shuffled out of the keep and into the your sort of like general hero stable.
Hero pool, right.
So it probably won't be a problem. We'll see. I mean, we don't want to. Part of it is that you don't want to artificially put restrictions on things when they're new. You just want to like sort of let it run and like see how it plays. And if you don't need restrictions on it, then it's like cool. You just saved like all that like thinking and programming and messaging and all that stuff that would explain why you can't have like more than 5 kids in a keep or something, right? So that's something that I often see people do when they're kind of designing stuff. They're thinking it through, and then immediately they're like, oh no, that might be overpowered. So they start like nerfing it immediately. And I think it's just better to sort of like make the thing be the most fun version of the thing. And then if it's like out of control and it's overpowered in practice, not in theory, then you can like start clamping it down and whatever.
Right.
And like we're guilty of that all the time. We put with the stealth ability on the hunter, perfect example. We were like, oh yeah, that seems way too powerful, so we put limited use on it, and then people weren't using it. They didn't think it was that fun, and then we just removed all restrictions to it, and now people think it's a lot more fun. The ability is exactly the same. It's just that it's not chained. It's not chained up, and so you can just use it whenever you want, and it's just more fun. It lets you explore more and find out what's like cool about it just by like experimentation and kind of jacking around with it. So like,
And it turns out some cases you can't use it if you're crossing a long bridge.
yep,
You know, some cases you're going to want to shoot and not
yep.
do it. So
I mean, the enemies
so-
detect you if they get close.
Right,
I mean,
so-
like it's got plenty of drawbacks
naturally-
already.
That's
Exactly
why it
right.
breaks it up
It
enough,
doesn't
you know,
need
yeah.
any more drawbacks.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
is the thing. I want to talk about this real quick. I haven't actually done this. This was another thing that Dan just got in to address the extinction problem. Is that so we have 13 deployable heroes.
Oh, I like that.
and
It tells you that. That's
This
pretty
is
cool.
like the so we had these two recruiting a single male or female hero, and this is like we're calling it the Hero Blast. So this is the Chalice power of the Hero Blast, and you know we're gonna need some
And
more
you're still
messaging
working on the
around
cost
it.
for it, right? Like it's the same price, right?
Yeah. We haven't costed it at all, but basically that just gave me probably all these young characters down here, just
Right.
all
Different
got
names.
kind of
Yeah.
spit into my roster. And again, you have to pay for it with time. Like, you know, the Chalice is shut down. You're not going to be researching during any of this. But this gives you like a lot of new blood to either train up or marry into your bloodlines or start new bloodlines or
You got a
whatever.
bum draw. Three
What-
of them are infertile.
Did I get some? Oh man, amazing. Yeah. So we got a really good handle, I think, on all of the trait stuff. It's just that we need to do probably one more systemic like clamping of it, because you don't want a character that just has like 8 of these traits out of the gate. It's going to be way too hard to get your head around it.
And we still have some ideas on some traits yet to put in.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Traits is a really fun area where you're constantly looking at that anytime you're picking a character to do something. It gives a little bonus here or there, but to me it's one of our most fun kind of features. I'm looking
Yeah.
at that almost more than anything else when I'm picking a character. Like
Yeah, I think it's really successful. People are really identifying with it as well, right? Like they're just like, it gives the individuals a lot of personality, which is cool. Sweet. We got any more questions? I think we're gonna
Just a few more.
wrap this thing up.
show
really
It's
them
funny, and Dan and I've
the
been
demon armor.
done.
Oh yeah, we could do that too.
Dan and I've been answering some of the ones in the in the forum thread. One person asked, Smiles again asked if you run out of bloodlines, like where do bloodlines get pulled from for new names that come up? And it's from the backer pool. It's from people from the sigil editor, from that data. We're getting that, which is great.
Absolutely. Yep.
Another cool one is could there be a chance of getting albinos? And that's actually, I don't know. Like, do we have a trait for albinism? I don't think we do, because there's no tactical result from that, right?
We don't, but
Yeah,
that's
I'd like
super
that
rad.
matter.
It'd be cool,
Also,
right?
Some of the coolest traits. I mean,
That was from
ones-
Kohano, by the way.
The ones that just don't have a lot of impact, but they're just like flavor only. I don't know where we'll find the time to, put
And
that in there. But
Since we're on traits, Brad,
it seems like it would be awesome.
Yeah. it seems
that sounds
harmless,
really cool.
right? Like,
Yeah.
it would be another although maybe it would make you a
That's
stealthy.
pretty good.
Look at this guy's beard.
Oh,
I just want you to
that's
just want you to marvel at this guy's beard. It's sweet.
Naboxo says he just noticed, or she noticed that there's a lot of negative traits. That seems to be all we see on there.
We might have to look at that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that exactly.
Yeah, and
but
Dan's in the chat saying, we're still tuning, we're still adding
Yeah.
stuff, so that's
there might
kinda
be
funny.
some bugs.
Go to your debug menu. Give the guy that armor.
Oh yeah. This dude right here, right? So this was
Yeah,
another thing
yeah.
that Chad just got in the game. Is the actual cadence armor for some of these classes. So
Selected hero.
equipment. And
Oh,
we can
yeah,
throw
yeah.
the alchemist demon armor. Sweet.
So it's
Okay.
placeholder.
Right now,
colors
it's just,
them right
it
now,
just
yeah.
like makes him glow a little bit or
Yeah.
something. Oh, whoa! It makes him invisible.
I think he just
skin-
removed his head.
His skin is invisible.
All right, just go with it.
But then when this guy takes damage, which might be right here,
see.
it's like reactive armor. It'll actually blow up.
Yeah! So
And it'll
great.
damage everybody who's around him, friend or foe. So it should be like an anti-melee armor, but you have to be really careful about
You
like
can
where.
give your hunter armor too if you want. show off our stealth.
Oh, that's right.
thing.
Okay, hopefully he won't die here. What was the question, Anthony? Oh, you can see this one's glowing.
Right.
Did this one remove its head as well?
Oh, I guess
Her
this
head.
is kind of not super related to this right now, but Soul Destroyer 1000 asks if has there been talk or are we walking away from boss fights? Will that be an option in this game? I know we have different kinds of battles.
I
but-
mean, some of our enemies, like the big swapper enemy, the big blue frigate cadence, he'll when he shows up, I think he'll kind of feel like a mini boss. Show up in in the early to mid game, and there'll only be one of them kind of in a group, and he'll have a lot, just be a lot more powerful than your characters. You have to gang up on him. I don't think that we're really thinking of traditional boss fights though, where there's like a singular character that you're fighting that's kind of like named or special or anything like that. Like the cadence is kind of about faceless. They don't even have heads, right?
Do they have names still though?
I think they might
it would-
actually.
Yeah, don't try that right now. It'll probably crash. But yeah, good one, Brad.
Yeah, that one's named Dora.
yeah, that's tough.
That's Dora.
So the last
he's
question,
floor.
the last question is from Koheno. Will Brad finally reveal how massive the chalice is?
No,
Oh,
I
hey,
didn't,
there's
I
one of
didn't
those
think
guys
so, but
over
I had
there.
to ask.
Oh yeah, that
it's a
guy's.
secret.
Is that guy looking the way you want him to look?
He's looking real. What happened to him? Look how blue he's looking. What happened to that guy?
Your caber jack has special armor too.
Oh yeah, that's right. You have bone shell
Oh, that one's gonna look real good.
armor on this guy, right?
Jeff inside is crying because of you, Brad.
Yeah, watch it when he gets hit.
That's your ass with the postman.
So that's amazing.
I'm gonna put
This is
this
a great
poop
place
on
to
All right,
end.
myself.
yeah, that's a great place to end the team stream on there.
Needs some work. That's
Cool.
program art for you. Right?
Programmer art, awesome. But that's basically taking the bone shell ability and getting it onto your caber jack. That'd be cool. Okay, cool. That's the current state of the game. Thanks for joining us, Master Chalice Team Stream 19. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Master Chalice Team Stream number 20.
20th anniversary.
20th anniversary of
Yeah.
Feels like it, yeah.
it'll be
Golden
great.
Jubilee.
But if we're really looking for feedback on the sigil editor. So if people can get on the forums and post images of the sigils you're making there, and any feature requests, functionality for that stuff, or symbol suggestions, like the actual symbols. If you have ideas for those, we totally want to hear them. They'll be awesome. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. All right.
So.
Thanks, peoples.
Bye.
Stay massive.